The grid features Jason Plato on pole, just 7/100ths faster than Thompson, who's on full ballast. Brands winner Matt Neal is third, with teammate Dan Eves in fourth, while the works-backed Honda of Tom Chilton is fifth, with Brands pole winner Colin Turkington alongside. Two of our champions from last year line up on row 4 in Collard and Muller, and James Kay heads into his 200th race from 9th. Hines is 10th, Anthony Reid was fast in free practice but lines up 11th, and Charlie Butler-Henderson is 12th. It's a windy row 7 with Huff and Breeze together. Michael Bentwood is 15th in his Astra, Kelvin Burt returns in 16th, and the two Protons are together on row 9. Jason Hughes starts from the pit lane, and Justin Keane, who suffered engine problems in his BMW, is at the back and hoping for better things in the race. Round 7 of the Green Flag MSA British Touring Car Championship underway at Silverstone, and it's a brilliant start from Matt Neal from the second row. My goodness, he goes straight past Jason Plato and James Thompson as if they're standing still, and it's Matt Neal who leads into Copse Corner. Jason Plato in second place. Now Colin Turkington there trying to get around the outside of Rob Collard. He gets squeezed out wide, but he should be able to rejoin okay, and I think they're all through Copse, and somehow Plato's back in front. Well, I don't know where he did that quite, but Plato now leads, Matt Neal in second and Thompson's in third.
Yeah, it's a great initial start by Matt Neal on this slightly greasy track. He got the perfect timing of throttle and clutch. Jason Hughes pulled off, but it looks like Jason Plato got the jump on him through Copse.
So Plato leads. Watch Anthony Reid there in the middle of the pack. He's making a lunge for Colin Turkington. He hits his own teammate, knocks him out the way, and Rob Huff trying to go around the outside, but Turkington does survive.
Yeah, and Hines has nipped through there, so a naughty move by Anthony Reid already in this race. On board here with Matt Neal at the very first corner, you can see he's run wide, and Jason Plato's just got the grip and the drive and driven past him on the inside.
This was also on that first corner. Coming out of Copse, Ivan Muller making some progress, getting past Rob Collard there as they came up towards Maggot. But up front is Jason Plato who leads. The other Seat of Rob Huff is involved in this dice with Luke Hines. Hines, who won one of the Brands Hatch races last time out. This is the next generation of touring car drivers, if you like. Luke Hines, 22, Rob Huff, 24 years old, and here they are side by side, Vauxhall versus Seat, and Huff really taking the wide line.
Well, we've seen several drivers using that line. Of course, previously that was full of gravel. They'd have been stuck in that, so they'll be very, very thankful they've got a tarmac runoff now.
Battle for the lead, Jason Plato in the Seat versus Matt Neal in the Honda, and a little further back, Ivan Muller trying to make up some ground. He started back on the 4th row of the grid after not getting qualifying quite right in those tricky, slippery conditions, and he's got Dan Eves right behind him. But look at this, battle for the lead. Matt Neal now getting alongside Jason Plato through Bridge Corner. We ride with Jason Plato. There's Matt Neal. He's got ahead, and he's got the line as they come in towards Priory. He gets a bit out of shape, but Matt Neal got the lead.
That was brave from Matt Neal. He went down on the slightly damp side into Bridge and held his nerve to slide across in front of Plato, but you can see just how slippery the conditions are.
Oh, Plato, somebody's hit him. Who's that? That's Thompson. Thompson's through into second.
Yes, a big whack on board there. Plato trying to fight back immediately, but Thompson's covering the inside round Woodcote.
Oh, that's good stuff. Great racing between these three. Thompson carrying maximum ballast on board, and you can see it hurts him as they come down the straight because Plato's able to draw level again, but he's not quite able to get ahead as they turn into Copse.
No, he's trying to do the cutback manoeuvre now on Thompson that he did on Matt Neal on that very first lap, but will he make it? He's got the drive. The Seat is quick, running light, and he's got the inside for Beckett's. Can he just hold it together? Difficult on the brakes over the bumps, but yes, Plato's back in front of Thompson.
Oh, this is great racing, and just look how close they are, those two, as they come out of Beckett's through the left-hander at Ireland. But look, Ivan Muller's now part of that group as well, and he's up alongside his teammate. These two tying for the championship lead, remember, coming into this race meeting. So this could be a needle battle, and Dan Eves trying to join in right behind, hoping perhaps they'll take each other off.
Yes, Ivan Muller's inexorable rise to the front of this grid, incredibly starting 8th on the grid, but he's driven a masterful race here, picking off people without any contact, and he's taking Dan Eves through, is he? No, Thompson's braving it round the outside, and he'll have the inside now for Priory.
So Thompson manages to fend off the second of the Orange Hondas. Meanwhile, Tom Chilton's in the pits, and Rob Collard's in trouble with a very bent looking right front wheel. There's been contact with somebody. Let's see what happened.
Yes, Vauxhall Astras don't have that much lock. This is on board with Turkington looking forward, and you can see Charlie Butler, Henderson and Collard have had contact.
That's a great shame because Collard was running in 6th, Butler Henderson was in 7th, and they would have been excellent results in this first race and given them good grid positions as well. Carl Breeze trying to get up the inside of Turkington, gives him a little bit of a push and spins. Turkington, who gets it recovered and pointing the right way again.
Poor Colin Turkington's getting practice for stunt school, I think, and here's another man, Michael Bentwood. Well, he won't get that out of the gravel, that's just going to submarine its way down. Switch that engine off, Michael.
Yeah, great shame for Bentwood. Meanwhile, here's the battle for second. It's Jason Plato and Ivan Muller. Muller's got down the inside. Oh, that's a fantastic move from the reigning champion, and it's a clean move as well to get past Plato.
Yes, Muller makes his moves decisively, but really efficiently, without contact.
So Matt Neal leads in the Honda, second place now for Muller, third for Jason Plato. Out of the race, I'm afraid, Michael Bentwood. So he's going to watch the rest of this one from the sidelines. Now, further back, there's some good dicing going on here. James Kay at the back of this group with Colin Turkington. They're battling over 10th place. Just ahead of them, Rob Huff and Luke Hines. And Hines makes a little bit of a lunge up the inside. It is effective. It does get him past the Seat. So he's up one position.
Good block past that by Hines, and Huffy really had no choice but to let him through this time.
Now look behind them, James Kay wants that 10th position from Colin Turkington. So crucial, because 10th position in this race will be pole for the next race. But Turkington has it covered on the inside. Kay tries to cut back again on the exit. It's not happening for him at the moment. And WSR boss Dick Bennett keeps an eye on Colin Turkington, hoping they may have pole position with that car in race 2. The leaders come through, Plato in third, Thompson running in 4th place. We're on board with Ivan Muller, running in 2nd place as he comes up towards Maggots and Beckett.
Yeah, just look how late he stays on the power here. Just down a couple of gears, tiny bit of throttle over the curb, then down a couple more gears, and tuck it in tight to Beckett's, and a good exit over the curbs there.
Still, this battle for 10th place continues. Turkington's rear bumper flapping about in the wind. James Kay locking up. It's his 200th touring car race, this one. And the twice former Independence champion never had an overall race win. But at the moment, all he's worried about is getting 10th, because that would then start him in pole position for race 2. He finishes 11th, he starts 11th, so there's a lot at stake here.
Absolutely, he likens himself to the Andrea De Cesaris of Formula 1, who had more races without a win than anyone else. So if he could start the second race on pole, that would be a big chance to get his first BTCC victory.
Look, they've caught Rob Huff. Huff made a little mistake there, I think, down at the Abbey hairpin, and they've caught Rob Huff now, and that puts him under pressure, and Turkington's going for it down the inside as they come in towards Priory. Is he going to get there? Oh, there's a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of contact. Oh, and more contact. Turkington and Kay are off on the grass, back onto the tarmac, just missing Kelvin Burt. Well, Turkington, I think, has got going again. He's okay, but all sorts of dramas through that complex section. They're looking back from Rob Huff. He's still in it. Let's take another look.
Well, Turkington gets up the inside, gets a slight overlap, but slows himself down. James Kay sticks his nose in, and suddenly we've got a three-way overlap, and it doesn't go. Kay and Turkington can't stop the car on the grass and just miss Huff and Burt.
They were very lucky. That could have been a four-way accident blocking the track there, but it's not to be, and it's Matt Neal who's going to come through and take the first race win of the day at Silverstone. That's his second race win this year. He won a race at Brands Hatch, and that is great for his championship hopes. Now, second place goes to Ivan Muller. Jason Plato takes third. James Thompson with full ballast takes 4th place. So I think he'll be fairly happy about that. But Matt Neal is celebrating his victory. The rest of them come through. And what about that battle for 10th place? Well, Kelvin Burt's just taken 9th as Rob Huff backs off and lets him through. So Huff takes the vital 10th position. Matt Neal matches Thompson as a double race winner this year. Muller has only missed the podium on one occasion so far, and Plato can spray his champagne again. Tomo was 4th on maximum ballast, and Breeze in 7th has delivered Team SureTerm's best finish of the season. But Matt Neal has exorcised the Silverstone demons that put him out of 2 top results here last year.
Honda said it felt great all the way through, but I was a little bit fortunate that they started having a bit of a tangle with each other, and you know, I was watching it all going on in my mirror going, go on son, have another go. And but that bought me a bit of time and gave me a bit of space and air, so I could just sort of concentrate on getting a clean line and just not making any mistakes.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. After you've had a great race like that, you know, had a fantastic battle with Matt at the beginning, then with Ivan, and then also with James at the beginning. And to come third, I mean, it's a great result for us. We're still not there with our car yet, and I think the fact all the test sessions and the qualifying leading up to this weekend have been wet. We haven't got any experience from last year to draw on to set our car up, so we had a bit of a stab at it, and just didn't quite get it right. But third's great, some more silverware, some more champagne, and some more bonus money.
The starting order for the second race sees Rob Huff and Kelvin Burt on that front row. Luke Hines is third for VX Racing and Carl Breeze is fourth in the Alpha. Reed is still chasing his first win of the season from fifth. Dan Eves is sixth. Then Thompson and Plato are together again, but this time on row 4. Ivan Muller starts ninth, carrying 30 kilos of ballast, but Matt Neal's car is even heavier. The MG of Turkington and the Proton of Watson Smith are on row 6, and the two JKs are on row 7, James Kay ahead of Justin Keane. Tariq Harriman is 15th, but Richard Marsh is not starting as someone's run off with his car's ECU. There are 4 potentially quick cars at the back in Chilton, Bentwood, Collard and Butler Henderson, and they'll hope to make rapid progress in the opening laps. Rob Huff on pole position with Kelvin Burt alongside him. Who's going to make the best start here? Bit of tyre smoke from Carl Breeze on the second row, but it's a good getaway for the ex-Ford and Volvo touring car driver of the mid-90s, Kelvin Burt. Little bit of bumping and boring going on behind him. Carl Breeze trying to squeeze Rob Huff. Oh, and he loses out as a result. Gets pushed wide and loses several places.
Oh, unlucky for Carl Breeze there. He made a good start, got a lot of wheel spin, but got away well and then just couldn't find the room to muscle in at the front. But one man that has jumped away like a jackrabbit is Kelvin Burt.
Yeah, it might be his first meeting in one of these touring cars, but he's going well, but his teammates off on the grass. That is the Alpha of Carl Breeze. We saw him in trouble at the first corner, and it goes even more wrong as they go through Maggots and into Beckett. Now, let's have another look at what happened at the start there, Tim.
Off the start line on the outside, Kelvin Burt gets it right. Huffy gets a slightly slow start and is actually initially passed by Carl Breeze on the outside. But the man making a lot of progress and cutting to the inside was Anthony Reid.
Yeah, that was a good start. Let's see what happened to Carl Breeze now. He's just to the right of Plato, and he gets spun in front. My goodness, Plato was lucky.
Yeah, and Plato's now got mud all over the windscreen. He can't put the wipers on or he'll scrub it all over the screen. Here we are on board with Matt Neal looking ahead, and you can just see Hines there banging straight into Carl Breeze and pushing him off.
So that's what happened to Carl Breeze. That's effectively put him down the running. Hopefully he can get back into it, but he's going to be a long way down, and Hines loses it now. The man who hit Breeze loses control through the ultra-fast Copse corner, and he loses a lot of places. Meanwhile, up front, it's Kelvin Burt. Rob Huff in second. Thompson is in third. Look at Muller. Muller muscling his way past Anthony Reid. Reid gets squeezed out of it, but now we have a battle on. This is for the lead of the race. Rob Huff trying to get round the outside of Kelvin Burt. They touch, and it's tyre smoke that comes off both cars. Huff still with the inside line as they come down to the Abbey Farm hairpin, and surely he's got the place. Yes, he has, and in fact it's allowed Thompson into second.
Yes, great move by Huff. That tyre smoke looked dramatic, but it's only just rubbing, and good move by him, and of course Thompson, ever the opportunist, straight up the inside.
Rob's dad, Peter, there in the middle, getting pretty excited about that. But Thompson now on the attack. Watch out, because the champion Thompson from 2 years ago wants to try and take a win here at Silverstone. And Rob Huff's got his work cut out to keep him behind. That is the view from the Seat of Rob Huff.
Thompson trying to take a wider line round Luffield and cut back to the inside, but we know that Seat is quick on the straights and he's got no chance there. So Huff leads.
Yeah, with Thompson right behind him. And then in third place, it's still Kelvin Burt in the short-term Vauxhall Astra independent car, remember? So that's the leading independent car in this race at the moment. Then it's Muller, then Turkington and Reid, and then Dan Eves. And Matt Neal, of course, struggling a bit now with the maximum ballast on board his Honda. He's not able to make his presence felt. Meanwhile, Muller gets up the inside of Kelvin Burt, who gets a bit sideways and only just manages to keep it on track.
That's Muller's favourite place to overtake, but up front, it looks like Thompson's putting the same move on Huff that Huff made on Kelvin Burt a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, now James Thompson has the inside line, and if he can brake late enough, then he should go into the lead. He's fast, if he can hold it. Huff's trying to stay with him around the outside, but that's not really on, and Thompson goes ahead, and Muller now is the man putting Rob Huff under pressure, with Kelvin Burt down in fourth place, with a line of cars queuing up behind him.
Great close battle here with Nick. Oh, Charlie Butler Henderson is out again with broken front steering.
Yeah, there's been contact with somebody. Oh, and look at this. Huff just taps the back of Thompson as they come into Brooklands, and Muller has got a chance, and he takes it. Well, he's never going to say no to an opportunity, but now Huff says, oi, I want it back again. A little bit of barging, but nothing untoward as yet, and Huff holds on to second.
Yeah, great battling between these two. Mike Nicholson shakes his head. He can't believe that Muller's actually lost the place, but Muller was a little bit rough with Huff, and Huff paid him back in kind.
Now let's have a look at Colin Turkington. Up ahead we've got Anthony Reid and Kelvin Burt, who's in 4th place. Ran a bit wide there, so that's going to give an opportunity to Anthony Reid perhaps as they head up towards Maggots and then into Beckett, and Reid goes up the inside. Kelvin seems to be struggling just a little bit there with the stability of the car under braking, and now Turkington's got a chance.
Kelvin Burt's a little bit slow there at Beckett's, and now Turkington will try and get a run. This is on board with Justin Keane in the BMW, and he gets hit at that point coming out. Big spin, car's on the grass, no chance. James Kay just slips through.
Yeah, now I think that was Charlie Butler-Henderson. I think that's the incident that caused the steering damage to his car. Meanwhile, look at this. This is the battle for second place between Rob Huff and Ivan Muller. And we saw how James Thompson was able to get past on this section last time out. Now is Ivan Muller going to do the same here? Brake late, get down the inside. Yes, he is. Now Huff will try and come back on him, but it looks as though the Frenchman's taken second.
Such a good move that. It's actually started 3 corners back on the approach to Beckett's, but Huff isn't done yet. We've seen this before. He fights straight back. He's coming in on the greasy line. He's got up the inside.
Look at that, he's sideways and he knocks Muller onto the grass, and he somehow gets back on again. And Muller's still in there, but he's now got Anthony Reid trying to squeeze past him as well in the MG. And these two, of course, no love lost between them. Reid gives Muller a bit of a shove as they come through the left-hander. Muller now down a place, but now he just tags the back of the MG, and he gets back alongside him again. Oh, this is great racing.
That was great side-by-side racing, starting off by Robert Huff trying to get up the inside at Bridge. Both cars sliding out wide. Muller using all his ice racing car control, and then Reid was sticking his nose in, and Muller showing he can dish it out as well as take it.
So Ivan Muller with the advantage now because he's got the inside line into Copse corner, and Reid has to dutifully follow. I wonder what the team make of this. They want to see Reid win his first race of the year, but at the moment he hasn't found a way past the Frenchman. And up front it's James Thompson. Still this battle for second continues. Rob Huff, Ivan Muller, Anthony Reid right there as well as we saw. And oh, Rob Huff's got sideways, completely sideways. He floors the throttle, tries to get back on track, but he's lost several places as the result. And now he rejoins, just in between the two Hondas of Dan Eaves and Matt Neal.
Great shame for Rob Huff trying to win his first race for Seat. He's had the car sliding a lot at the back and it just tail whipped him round there, but he held it very well.
Yeah, that puts him into 7th place. If he can hold on to that, well, it's a bit disappointing considering he was running in 2nd position, but that puts Muller up to 2nd now, Reid in 3rd, Kelvin Burt in 4th place with Turkington and Eaves behind. There is Rob Huff having recovered from that moment. Well, fantastic car control, but he'll still be kicking himself, I think, after losing out on a possible podium finish. Turkington comes through, just ahead of him. There is Kelvin Burt. Oh, again, he's a bit sideways.
Well, with mud on that part of the circuit from the very first lap, and it is a difficult position to brake in because you're cornering at the same time, but just clipping the curb there and getting it squirrely.
Dan Eaves running well in the number 4 car. Let's just see what happened a moment ago, though, when Kelvin Burt lost his rear bumper. That was with Colin Turkington. It was all getting a little close between them, but they survived. He's okay, the car's in one piece, and Thompson now has just a few corners to finish off here to take his 3rd win of the season.
Great drive by James Thompson. He's just stayed out of the way of all the trouble going on behind him, and he's been very pleased with this win.
Yeah, a crucial victory, and it's given him that little bit of an edge again over Ivan Muller. His battle continues between the two teammates, but on this occasion it's James Thompson who comes out on top. Ivan Muller will take 2nd place. A checkered flag out for Thompson. There's Muller. You can see how close Reid is in 3rd position, but it's enough for Muller to take the place. Thompson maintains his record of 1 win per meeting so far, and it keeps him within 1 point of Muller's total. Reid wins the independents, and teammate Turkington took fastest lap. The heavyweight Honda of Matt Neal was 8th, but the lighter car of Tom Chilton moved up from 18th to finish 10th, and was one of only 3 cars to lap in the 1-minute 28-second bracket.
The early part of the race was, was cracking. A bit of good old-fashioned dog fighting, but then luckily they held themselves up, and I just cruised home.
Thompson has the front row all to himself as a result, while Reid and Kelvin Burt are the men in black on row 2, with Colin Turkington and Dan Eaves behind, each chasing a top 3 finish. It's Seat versus Honda on the next 2 rows, but Matt Neal has a lighter car again and should fly as in race 1, while Chilton was quick in race 2. 11th on the grid is Sean Watson-Smith. Michael Bentwood is 12th, but missing from 13th is Rob Collard, leaving a lonely Luke Hines. The Honda of James Kay and the Alfa Romeo of Carl Breeze are on row 8. Farik Harriman and Justin Keane are next, but John George has got problems with the brakes on his Honda. On the final row, Charlie Butler-Henderson has it all to do after suffering that damaged steering in race 2. It's time for round 9 of the Green Flag MSA British Touring Car Championship, the final race of the day at Silverstone, and away goes James Thompson, and what a brilliant start it is from him. Last year he struggled on the starts, but this time he's made an excellent getaway. Reid is in second, Turkington in third, and watch out for Matt Neal and Dan Eaves, both of them going well as they come down towards Copse. Kelvin Burt in the middle, Matt Neal gets through on the inside, and Plato, I think they're gaining a place or 2 on the inside as well.
Last year, James Thompson couldn't buy a good start, but this year he's been impeccable. Look at all that cement dust, making it very tricky to brake. Where do they brake? On the line, inside it, outside it? Very tricky.
Yeah, I'm amazed, actually. It looks like they're all through that section safely. Now, what a great chance this is for Thompson. 1 point behind Muller coming into this race in championship terms, and he's out in front. Muller's out of the race. An ideal opportunity for Thompson to make a bit of a break in the championship. Second place for Reid, third for Turkington, but for how much longer? There goes Rob Huff. That was a last-minute dive, but he's got through safely. Turkington gave him space.
Well, Turkington had a chance there to repay his teammate Anthony Reid for punting him at that corner on the first lap of the first race, but he was a bit cautious and got jumped by the Seat.
So Rob Huff moves up into third. Let's take another look from on board Colin's car.
Colin just weighing up his options, and while he's thinking about it, Rob Huff, as we know already this year, straight down the inside.
Up front, James Thompson with that little bit of a break from Anthony Reid and Rob Huff. Then Turkington chased by Matt Neal and Jason Plato. Tom Chilton leads the next group, but for the moment, Thompson's just got to try and concentrate on building the gap. Here comes Matt Neal, though. Matt Neal with a lighter Honda in this third race, and he's making good use of it to get past Colin Turkington and go chasing after the others. Now Jason Plato next on his list, but look how Anthony Reid has caught Thompson. This is the battle for the lead now, and Thompson has got problems because the MG is coming for him. It's down the inside, Reid goes ahead, but he's got a bit wide on the exit, and Thompson comes back.
Well, Anthony Reid needs to watch Ivan Muller's passes into that corner, because he just carried a bit too much speed into it and ran wide. Thompson switched back and, of course, has the outside run round the bend and now the inside into Farm Hairpin.
Yeah, and I think Thompson won't waste that opportunity. Reid a little bit hung out to dry, but not too much. He's careful to get back in front of Huff.
Just slotted in, which actually brake tested Rob Huff a little bit, and he's now coming under pressure from Matt Neal, whose Honda without the weight again, and suddenly looks, as you say, much like the car he had in the first race.
But Reid still attacking Thompson. Here they come in towards Priory. Look at Thompson holding a tight line. Reid on the grass, he hits Thompson, knocks him sideways, and he's through. Well, that's one way to take the lead. Anthony Reid in front now, with Thompson with some bodywork damage back down to second place, and Thompson now with his mirrors filled by the Seat of Rob Huff.
With Huff and Neal catching him up, I think Reid thought it was time to get past, but he was on the grass to push Thompson wide, and that's not acceptable.
Well, Reid's in front, whatever it's taken, he's there as some of the marker posts go flying, and I wonder what the Vauxhall camp make of that one. Thompson pushed down to second place. Take another look at it.
Well, Thompson is defending, he's on the normal line, there's no overlap at all, and Anthony just drives into him across the grass, pushes him blatantly wide, and that's no way to gain a position.
Now we're riding on board with Thompson, and he's passed again. It is Rob Huff who gets past him, and that puts him into third place. Huff up into second, Thompson down to third. He's struggling a little bit, and he's got to watch out because they're all ganging up on him. Now Matt Neal's going for Thompson. We're on board with Jason Plato. We've got Colin Turkington to our left, and it's all getting a bit tight.
This is very tricky into here. You have to go across the grass. Plato's on the inside, though, and does gain a position.
He gets past the MG of Turkington safely, but up front it's Anthony Reid looking for his first win of the season. This could be his big opportunity, but just look at that line of cars behind. You've still got Huff in second place with James Thompson under increasing pressure, this time from Jason Plato. Turkington trying to get his place back by going around the outside. Plato hits Thompson. There's a bit of contact, and look, Chilton's nipped up the inside, and so has Carl Breeze, and Dan Eaves is going to do likewise. Thompson and Plato really holding each other up there.
Well, great opportunity for Tom Chilton. He saw the gap, got his foot down and passed 3 cars in one go, and that was all because Thompson and Plato were scrapping over the position.
Well, that's what touring cars is all about. It's so close and so competitive. Let's take another look.
Plato gets too close to the back of Thompson, ends up pushing him wide, and because he's pushing him, he can't accelerate hard, so he does the right thing and backs off a little bit. Tom Chilton takes it straight round the inside, and Carl Breeze goes with him.
One little mistake and you can lose 2 or 3 places just like that in touring cars. We're on board with Rob Huff. Now he's under pressure from Matt Neal. Matt Neal's got up the inside and he's through, I think. Yes, he squeezes Huff out onto the grass. And now Huff, looking back from his car, we see Tom Chilton closing up very, very rapidly as we come through the left-hander at Ireland. Chilton goes alongside. He's on the grass to get past it.
I don't think Huff knew he was there. But to his credit, Tom Chilton kept his foot down, kept his speed up, and he's taken that position. Hold it in tight, block past Huff, get the traction down and drive away from him, Tom.
Yeah, he's up into 3rd place now, and he started in 10th position on the grid, did Chilton. So this is quite a run from him, but Anthony Reid still leads this race. Matt Neal in 2nd, there's Chilton in 3rd. Rob Huff now pushed back down to 4th, and under pressure here from Carl Breeze in the Alfa Romeo. Best run we've seen from the Alfa so far this year.
Absolutely, that car has a great engine in it, and he suffered in the second race by being knocked off, but now he's pushing Huff wide. Huff won't like that one bit. You wait for him to come back. We know he will, but Carl Breeze is in front at the moment. Here comes Huff, bit of a shove, pushing wide, bit more of a shove. They're both sideways. Plato's trying to get past, but Huff's got up the inside for Woodcock.
Well, it's pretty aggressive stuff between those two. I wonder what Jason Plato makes of it all. He's now got a chance to get past Carl Breeze, and he should complete that move on the run down in towards Copse Corner. And Carl Breeze is going to have to think about that and come back at them if possible. But still running very, very quickly. James Thompson right behind him.
Nick Bennett from West Surrey Racing still hoping for his first win, but this is on board Turkington.
Yeah, he's running in 10th place, but no, he's not, because Michael Bentwood squeezes past him. That was through Bridge Corner. Kelvin Burt just ahead. Bentwood, who ended up buried in the gravel in the last race, if you remember, having a better run this time. And now he's got to try and get past that Vauxhall Astra of Kelvin Burt. It's all close behind them, though. Luke Hines is in there too. Not having quite such a good weekend as he did at Brands Hatch last time out. Meanwhile, in the Seat camp, there's a bit of inter-team rivalry going on. We're on board Rob Huff, and here comes Jason Plato.
Jason Plato will be keen to show his younger teammate, and here he does it, that he is the #1 in the team, the former champion. That was a good move up the inside.
Yeah, it was indeed. We've seen a few cars go through there. He's up into 4th place as a result. There are our top 3, though. Reid, Matt Neal and Tom Chilton. And look how close they all are now. Chilton's caught Neal, but Neal's right on the rear bumper of Anthony Reid. And there we are, riding on board the 2nd place Honda. And really close to Anthony Reid, almost hitting him as they come up towards the right-hander at Beckett's. You can't get any closer than that. And now trying to get the traction, trying to get the speed out of the corner as he attempts to pass Anthony Reid. Reid's looking in his mirrors, trying to see where the orange car is. Chilton's on the inside as they come through Ireland. They're on the grass. Reid and Matt Neal are on the grass, and they had to back off, and Tom Chilton gets past both of them, and the youngster is now leading this race.
Well, fantastic luck for Tom Chilton. He's been gifted the lead, but what were Reid and Neal up to, banging into each other at a very fast part of the track. Here's on board with Matt Neal. He's got a slight overlap. Reid's mirror's folded in. He probably can't see he's there, but he's leaning. They both end up on the grass at over 100 miles an hour.
Well, that could have been very frightening indeed. Thankfully, they got both cars back on the tarmac safely, but it's Tom Chilton who now leads this race remarkably. Further back, you can see Matt Neal coming under pressure, and Matt, oh, he's in trouble there. Brakes not really working, or something not working. I don't know whether he's just fired up or what.
No front splitter on that car is not helping him with downforce and braking, and Matt trying ever so hard to make up for the loss. He's just going to go backwards now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for him. He's involved in another tussle here. Look, Carl Breeze coming through, and in fact Breeze is racing with Matt's teammate Dan Eaves. You can just see a glimpse of the other orange Honda on the outside there, and they're side by side through Luffield. And Matt Neal, having already been involved in his own incident a moment ago, probably just waiting to see what happens between these two.
Here we go, Dan Eaves comes up the inside, a little tap on Breeze, just running into the corner a bit hot. Breeze holds it nicely, and now Dan's on the outside. His only option is to try and cut back if Matt Neal doesn't do it, which he does on the exit of Luffield.
But Tom Chilton has driven superbly here. He's been in the right place at the right time. He's really thought about this race, and he's going to become the youngest ever winner of a British touring car race. Tom Chilton wins at Silverstone for Honda, and it's the first win of the season for the Works Honda team. A brilliant performance from the 19-year-old, beating the veteran Anthony Reid. Third goes to Plato. Still action going on up here at Luffield. Kelvin Burt is a victim of all that. Carl Breeze comes home in 5th place, chased by Dan Eves, with James Thompson behind. And here's how they finish then: a Honda winning, an MG in 2nd, a Seat in 3rd. Vauxhall got to be licking their wounds from that one. And just to confirm the progress of the new generation, Chilton's win is backed up by a best ever finish for Carl Breeze in 5th. Thompson picked up just 4 points for that 7th place, but for the first time, Tom Chilton grabbed 16 for the win.
Tom, I'm going to grab you. Tom, you are the youngest man ever to win a British touring car race. History in the making. How do you feel?
Great.
Were you worried at all that you might throw it off in excitement?
No, not at all. Kept a cool head, did the job for the boys. We needed it.
Lovely.
And fantastic.
There's drivers out there dishing it out just as much. You know, you've got to fight fire with fire. It's just
How do
ridiculous.
you see the incident with Matt Neal? Because he was on your right, he was on the outside, and when you both went off onto the grass.
Yeah, I mean, he put me on the grass. I mean, I was ahead of him, almost completely at car length, and he banged into the back of my bumper and basically lost that race for me. I mean, MG should have won today. So I'm not happy at all. And plus, what you did on the slowing down lap is just totally out of order.
Right, well, thank you for your words, Anthony. Thank you.
You don't deserve a licence.
You are out of order. That is bloody outrageous what
Just
you did.
drawing people off
You
their
ruined
track, mate.
my bloody race. Damaged my car.
Well, some aggro down in pit lane. Let's look back over what caused it.
Another camera angle, you can see a slight overlap with Matt Neal, and Reid is taking the wide line out, and they both end up on the grass in a highly dangerous manoeuvre. But I think emotions are running high from previous instances this weekend. You can see Matt isn't going to lift, and he's got to in the end when he's on the grass, and they could so easily have both piled into the barriers.
And there was another incident with James Thompson, for which I gather Reid has been docked 10 seconds and therefore 2 places.
And that penalty quite justified, in my opinion, for an unfair move on James Thompson.
I'm angry, very angry, to be fair. You know, at the end of the day, we're leading the race legitimately. And, you know, Reid did his usual trick of just punting us out of the way. He made no real effort to overtake us. Just punted us round. You know, the bloke's a clown. He should be juggling balls in a circus somewhere.
What are the authorities going to do with him before he hurts someone? Because someone is going to get seriously hurt, because he's hit me this weekend in free practice. He's hit me in the race. He's hit other people in this weekend as well. Last weekend he was involved in stuff. I like Anthony, but he's going to hurt someone.
Coming into Silverstone, Muller and Thompson were tied for the lead. Now the Yorkshireman has eased ahead, but it could have been by many more points. Reid stays 3rd, Matt Neal is 4th, but Jason Plato's gained a spot at the expense of Luke Hines, whose weekend started with the onboard jacks failing in qualifying, and it never picked up from there. It was all going so well for VX Racing in the first 2 races, no damaged cars and plenty of time for an engine change. That's where it started going downhill, but with 3 races at every event, we'll see plenty of dramas before the season's finished. Anthony Reid has opened up a useful lead in the independence battle, but Dan Eves has moved up to 2nd, narrowly ahead of his teammate.